Yo, alright, welcome back. I got the mic in my hand today just because I want to make sure the audio picks up because I don't know how good it was last time. Well, I do know, but it wasn't that good. But basically, yeah, grading every 2017 NBA draft lottery pick 5 years later. Let's get into it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I like this already. You guys should like it already. Um, yeah, I want to hit 100 subs by the end of the month. What is today? It is the 18th of August. How many get to 100 subs? Please. Thank you.
As we continue to look back at previous NBA drafts that have gone down in recent years, the 2017 draft class was one of the most interesting of them all. There was an interesting balance of star talent being discovered throughout, hyped up prospects disappointing at times, and tons of quality role players found as well. Over the last few days, I've been going through these recent drafts, and with hindsight on our side, knowing what we know now with the information after their careers have been going on for a while, have been giving out grades for each lottery selection based on how the picks have worked out for the teams years later. I've already gone through the 2020, 2019, and 2018 drafts, so if you missed those videos, go watch them after you watch this one, but today we'll be obviously moving on to the 2017 class. Before we start though, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first pick in the draft was Markelle Fultz by the Philadelphia 76ers, and the grade here is an F. This pick went about as wrong as it possibly could have because of a combination of terribly bad luck and a lack of patience. When Fultz was drafted, he was viewed as the clear top prospect in the draft because as a lead guard, he demonstrated an elite ability to create for both himself and those around him in college, and projected to be a 3-level scorer with good court vision and passing talent. Then, when he got drafted, a shoulder issue immediately began to plague his career. His perimeter jumper became damaged to a degree that he is still working through it to this day, and then they traded him a year and a half into his career for Jonathan Simmons to the Magic, so they didn't even get anywhere close to the return that they would hope for from a number 1 overall pick. Next, with the second pick, the Los Angeles Lakers selected Lonzo Ball, and the grade here is a B. Lonzo Ball was a college sensation who entered the NBA with a massive following from the jump. His passing talent had him drawing comparisons to all-time greats such as Jason Kidd, and
I was saying this quickly, I'll try not to pause it too much, but what makes LaMelo so much better than Lonzo is it literally just like aggressiveness. Because obviously I know it's high school, but Lonzo was averaging like 30 plus in high school, and in college he was like the go-to guy, averaging however many he was averaging, but he was hitting clutch shots and he was doing his thing. So I'm kind of surprised he doesn't average more points in the NBA. Like, I know it's not his role, and obviously he's got a lot of great scorers around him. Like he's always had good scorers around him, apart from like his first year. But like I definitely reckon like Lonzo in some of his best years can give us like 18 points a game, like legit. Like he's gonna give you a few threes, you know. He's gonna get a couple steals, deflection. He's gonna get on the break, run, fill the lanes. You know what I'm saying? His flow of game isn't is kept on improving over the years. I think his free throw percentage has gone up quite a bit as well recently. So yeah, like I was always wondering why like he doesn't average more points. I think it's mainly just aggressiveness, and when it comes to like the LaMelo thing, LaMelo does have a bit more self creation than he does, like that herky jerky style. But yeah, I still reckon Lonzo can do his thing like that.
And when the Lakers took him, they thought they got themselves their next star and face of the franchise.
I mean,
but the reality of what Lonzo Ball was fell short of that. He is still a very good player with outstanding court vision and playmaking talent, but isn't necessary.
Sorry, I'm trying not to pause it too much. Outstanding court vision is an understatement. Look, I want you lot to do me a favor, yeah? Search up Zion Williamson highlights and just watch how many easy buckets Lonzo was giving him. Like, I'm talking about anything, like just think about it. He's running the lanes, Lonzo, perfect, on time, on target. He'll spin off the post, perfect lob. Like, I don't think people realize how much easier Lonzo made the game for Zion. Like, of course, you know, when he comes back, he's still gonna average whatever he averaged, or he's gonna average, 25 plus, I reckon. But the buckets are not gonna be as easy because there's not as many natural playmakers with great vision on that Pelicans team as Lonzo. Like, Brandon Ingram can pass and he can make the right decision, but he's not like he doesn't have an amazing vision like that. CJ McCollum, he's a veteran leader. He's gonna make great passes, but he's wired to score. Like CJ McCollum's a bucket. You know, I don't know how great Jose Alvarado is at passing, but he's a second string PG at this point. You know, Dyson Daniels might be able to deliver some of the same things that Lonzo gave, so that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, Lonzo literally gives Zion so many easy points, and like, if you don't believe me, just go search up Zion Williamson highlights from the only season he played, pretty much, and tell me I'm lying.
A go-to scoring threat, and he plays strong perimeter defense, but is more of a role player than a star.
First team all defense.
The Lakers ended up trading him in the package that got them Anthony Davis, so in the end, they don't really regret things too much here. Up next with the third pick, the Boston Celtics selected Jason Tatum, and the grade here is an A+. Landing Tatum third was exactly what the Celtics needed to set themselves up for long-term future success, as he immediately emerged as someone with tremendous scoring talent, and now 5 years later, he's a superstar who just helped lead the team to the NBA Finals. Tatum is now a 3-time All-Star. He averaged 27 points per game last year, and what's scary is that most still believe he can get even better moving forward. Next, with the fourth pick, the Phoenix Suns selected Josh Jackson, and the grade here is an F. Jackson was compared to Kawhi Leonard at the time of the draft as a potential two-way threat that was coming along as a shot creator while also being viewed as the best perimeter defender in the class, but 5 years later, his career
I want him to
is
do
hanging
great. I hope
on
he
by
bounces back and has a great
in
career.
Phoenix, early on, Jackson faced a ton of off-the-court issues that the Suns grew frustrated with him over. His play on the court was inconsistent, and they ended up trading him away after 2 seasons in a package that got them Kyle Korver and Javon Carter, so a 4th overall pick for their return. That's pretty disappointing.
I don't remember that.
Next, with the 5th pick, the Sacramento Kings selected De'Aaron Fox, and the grade here is an A. The Kings had become notorious for flopping on their lottery selections for years leading up to this draft, but they finally got one right with this. Fox is an incredibly talented point guard who is now coming off of a season where he averaged 23 points and 6 assists per game, and it feels like he's on the cusp of breaking out into getting an All-Star Game nomination in the near future. The Kings have unfortunately continued to be underperformers as a whole since Fox's arrival, but he has been one of their few consistent bright spots, and now heading into next season, they actually have a squad that could make a legitimate playoff push.
Definitely.
Next, with the 6th pick, the Orlando Magic selected Jonathan Isaac, and the grade here is a C+. Isaac's first 3 seasons were going fully according to plan as he was developing at a nice pace and started performing at a level that had many under the impression that he was a future Defensive Player of the Year in the making. Then he tore his ACL during that 3rd season, and he literally has not returned to the court since. Because of this ACL tear, he's missed about 2.5 years of play, and at this point, there's no telling what he'll be able to provide when he returns because of how long that it's been.
Yo, that Magic team is crazy. Like, you got Paolo, Franz Wagner, Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter, Jonathan Isaacs, even guys like Chimo Kiki, like Marco Fultz. Like, these are big players, bro. These are big players. They can put out a big lineup, bro. Like, that team's gonna be annoying to play against. Like, they're gonna have length everywhere. Pause.
Next, with the 7th pick, the Chicago Bulls traded up to take Lauri Markkanen, and the grade here is a B. Markkanen was intriguing as a talent at the time because this was when all of the fascination was with finding the next unicorn was at its highest, and he fit the bill in theory as a 7-footer that could reliably knock down threes. In Chicago, he had tons of ups and downs, with his primary contribution coming through his ability to space the floor as a shooter, but it took him a few years for his consistency and efficiency to improve in that regard. The Bulls didn't choose to re-sign him after 4 years, instead allowing him to go to the Cleveland Cavaliers in a sign-and-trade, so it wasn't the home run of a pick they hoped he could become, but ultimately it wasn't that bad either. Next, with the 8th pick, the New York Knicks selected Frank Ntilikina, and the grade here is a D.
Makes sense, but like,
Ntilikina was a fan favorite in New York, and everybody in the organization really wanted him to work out, but he just never managed to take the leap that they needed to see from him in order to justify the selection. He immediately jumped out to viewers because of his tenacity on defense, guarding opposing teams' top players, but offensively, he left a lot to be desired. His ability to score consistently ranked near the bottom of the league. His shot didn't fall consistently enough, and through 5 seasons, he has never once shot the ball above 40% from the field. Next, with the 9th pick, the Dallas Mavericks selected Dennis Smith Jr., and the grade here is a C. DSJ was an explosive athlete coming out of college that could jump out of the gym, and in his rookie season in Dallas, he had a lot of the typical inconsistencies that rookie guards tend to experience, but most still assumed that he had a bright future ahead of him because he was pretty good at times. Then in his second season, the Mavericks brought in Luka Doncic, and all of a sudden he became expendable. Now 5 years later, DSJ is an unsigned free agent who has failed to improve since his rookie season, but the reason why the grade isn't lower here is because the Mavericks traded him during his second season in a package that got them Kristaps Porzingis, so they honestly managed to maximize his value. Next, with the 10th pick, the Portland Trail Blazers traded for the pick to select Zach Collins, and the grade here is a C-. Collins has unfortunately dealt with injuries throughout his career and just can't catch a break. When he is able to be on the court, he's shown glimpses of being a big man that can space the floor as a shooter, play good interior defense, and crash the glass, but we're now 5 years in, and the output that he has had is undoubtedly disappointing.
I'll be lying if I said I watched
The Trailblazers did not end up extending his contract after 4 years, so he left in free agency to sign with the San Antonio Spurs, and that's never an ideal scenario for a top 10 pick. Next, with the 11th pick, the Charlotte Hornets selected Malik Monk, and the grade here is a B-. Monk was labeled as the best shooter in the draft class at the time, but it took him a while to start living up to that kind of hype. In his first 3 seasons, he was a below-average shooter and scorer in general, who struggled defensively as well, but in his 4th season, he finally started to break out and started shooting the lights out. The bad news, though, is that Monk left in free agency following in that summer to sign with the Lakers, so the Hornets barely had Monk performing to the best of his abilities. Next, with the 12th pick, the Detroit Pistons selected Luke Kennard, and the grade here is a B. Kennard is the actual sharpshooter of this draft class.
I was like, oh, you know, we're up like 30 points, you know, I'm gonna go sleep, you know, I'm gonna have myself a little early night. It's cool. And then I ended up watching YouTube videos on my phone, you know, as you do. And I was like, you know, let me check back in the score. Let me check back the score. You know, let me see if Brad had like, wait, bro, was Brad playing that game? But anyway, I was like, let me see if anyone had like a really big game, or was it just by committee, you know what I'm saying? And we lost. I look at the score and we lost. The anger that I felt, I couldn't even go to sleep. I got so angry. I never do this. I got so angry. I went on Twitter and I was looking at the spaces. Like, I was looking for Washington Wizards spaces, and the pain that I heard from these guys' voices that day. It was pretty funny, but I was so triggered, man. I was so triggered the next day. I was like, I'm gonna watch it and see what happened. I just couldn't watch it. I was so triggered.
He shot 39% or better from 3 every single season of his career so far, and led the league in three-point percentage this past season. The Pistons traded him after 3 seasons in a deal that landed them Sadiq Bey, so it worked for everyone involved and provided solid value throughout. Up next at number 13, the Utah Jazz traded for the pick to select Donovan Mitchell, and the grade here is an A+. As we approach the end of the lottery from this class, we also find some of the best selections made on the night. The Jazz found the star player that they would go on to build around with this pick, as Mitchell has emerged as a multiple-time All-Star in his career already, and one of the best scoring talents in the game today. I know things may be a bit rocky with the Jazz at the current moment, but there are zero regrets with finding a stud at the end of the lottery with this selection. And finally, the last pick from the lottery this year was Bam Adebayo by the Miami Heat, and the grade here is another A+. As I said last time, the end of the lottery this year was where two of the best selections in the entire draft were made, as the Heat found their defensive anchor and all-star in Bam Adebayo. Bam is one of the very best defenders in the entire NBA, as a big man that both protects the rim at an elite level and can comfortably switch onto any position and lock them down. Then offensively, he's improved his scoring output every season and is coming off of a year where he averaged 19 points and 10 rebounds per game.
I did not know you averaged 19.
And with that being said, that's all I have for you today.
Thanks, Hoops reference. But Bam's has that like DeAndre Ayton like problem where like they're both very good at basketball, clearly, right? But they don't have much self-creation. Like, that's why it's gonna be hard for the Suns and the Heat to win with them two as like second-ish options, because they don't really have any self-creation. Like, they can score and they can hit a jump shot. I think Bam might be a bit better at shooting mid-ranges, but like, it's not that consistent where you can feed it to them, let them face up, attack off the dribble. Like, they're not that type of players. Like, they just score instinctively and they're in the right spots. Bam gets off of rebounds, Aiden gets off of rebounds. You know, they'll hit a couple of free throws, and like that's kind of how they score. But like, they're not really go-to scorers. And I think for them to take the next step, they're gonna have to get a bit more self-creation, like, you know, facing up and attacking the big and really working in the post, and or just getting like a really reliable mid-range jump shot, like a LaMarcus Aldridge type jump shot.
Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel,
and comment
down below.
But yeah, anyway, yeah, like, subscribe, and let me know what else you want me to react to. I'll react to, like I said, I'll react to anything. Just drop it in the comments, and I'll see you later. Peace.
Don't ever talk too much, never left behind, and I keep it moving. And they can never get to mine, I protect the vibe, and I keep improving. Every day I think about growth, wealth, health, it's all.
Oh, you get me, whole time.